Hey guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And in today's video, we're going to talk about my ninth graders homeschool schedule. I'm really not sure why I haven't shared this before now. I usually share this at the beginning of the year, but I had someone reach out in the comments of my mid-year homeschool reflection video asking how we fit all of this stuff into our week. And so it's easier for me just to make a video and tell you how we do it than to type it all out. So I do have a caption that will come up to kind of let you know what I'm talking about for each day. Now, before we get started, remember this schedule is just what works for my son. So your high schooler schedule may not look like this depending on what your kids need and also what your state requires. Now, the state that we live in, we're very fortunate that they do not have set requirements for high school. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm just going to lay around and not do anything with him. What it means is the parents get to determine what the children take as far as their courses, and then they also issue them a high school diploma. So I feel very fortunate that we live in a state like that. But I did need something to go off of. So I went to our state's public school requirements just so I would have something to look at, something to go from, to know kind of the things that I wanted my son to do. And of course, we also add things that are very specific for him. So do know what your state's requirements are, and then if you have a certain amount of hours or things like that, you'll need to fill that in for your state. Now for us, we're going for course completion. So we're going to complete all of these within this homeschool year, and that's how he is going to get a credit. So there are going to be graphics that will pop up that will show you our week as I am talking about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I always talk about how we do a 4-day school week, and we actually do. We school 4 full days a week, Tuesday through Friday. Those are the days that you're going to see his core work. That's when he's doing that. But that doesn't mean that we just lay around on Mondays and we don't do anything. So Mondays are actually my grocery shopping day because that's the least crowded day at our grocery store. And so I go do that in the morning, then we have lunch, and then we usually do something in the afternoon. And what I found that works best on Mondays is to let that be an elective day. And so that's where we're going to do the starting of our elective for the week. Now, for us right now, what that looks like on Monday is we do our Gather Round Unit life skills. I highly recommend this unit. All children need to go through a life skills unit. This has been great so far. And so what we normally do on Monday is I will read the lesson, and this life skills unit has a lot of hands-on things. So during the lesson, if there's something hands-on, he gets up and he does that. This is all about cleaning and organizing. So I'm very excited about that because I'm a cleaner and organizer at heart, and I would love for him to pick up that bug. So anyway, we read the lesson, we do the hands-on stuff, and while I'm reading, he is taking notes on the notebooking page. So we get a big chunk of this covered on Monday, and then we stop. We don't do any of the other pages on Monday, just the notebooking and the reading. And I'll show you what we do during the week after that. The other thing we like to do on Monday is we are using the Japanese from TalkBox Mom. And so I do not get the boxes. I just use the book. You can buy just the book, and that comes with access to the app. And so on Mondays, we review all of his past phrases. Now, he uses those phrases a lot. And so we just go through them really quick to make sure he still knows them, and he does. And then I usually add 3 to 5 new phrases. And so I just kind of ask him, what do you want to know how to say in Japanese? And like this week, he wanted to know things to do with the dog because he wanted to talk to our dog in Japanese. And so you just look up the phrases that you would use, like, what kind of pet do you have? Or have you fed the dog? Those kind of things that you're going to use often. I write them down, we listen to them on the app, and we just kind of go over them and practice saying them, and that's what you do. So we introduce the new stuff on Monday. The other thing we like to work on is his driver's ed, learner's permit kind of thing. He really wanted to take that slow. He's in no hurry to get his license. He does have ADHD, and so though he is 15, his maturity level I just don't feel is there to drive. And I think he knows that. I've never came out and said that to him, but he's very responsible and he's very in tune with himself, and he just really doesn't have an interest in it. So we're just taking it slow and we're learning, and when he's ready, we'll go take that learner's test so he can start driving. So we just kind of touch on that, usually the learner stuff about once a week. Now we're into Tuesday. So like I said, Tuesday through Friday are our core days. That's where you're going to see his math and his history and his science and his language arts, all those things. So the first thing we like to do on Tuesdays, and it's going to be the same for Thursday, but on Tuesday, we always start with math, and that's Algebra 1 through Learn Math Fast. And that's the day that I will sit down, I'll teach the lesson, he takes notes because I want him to learn how to refer back to his notes. And then we work some problems together. We do them, I always did that when I taught kindergarten. I teach the lesson, we do some stuff together, and then they would go do some stuff independently. And that's what I like to do with him. So we work a few problems together, then he goes and works some problems. Now, some days that takes us about 45 minutes, depending on what the lesson was about, and some days it's a little shorter than that. It really just depends on if he understands or how long the problems are. You know, when you start breaking everything down and simplifying, those problems can get kind of long. So that's what we do on Tuesdays for math. Then we're going to hit his English 9, which is what I'm calling it. That's his language arts. And so we're using the Good and the Beautiful level 7 for 9th grade, because you can absolutely do that. And that's what we're using. So within that, and that probably takes us the longest amount of time, because you've got word ladders, you have poetry memorization, you have sentence dictation, you have the geography and grammar cards, all those kind of components that are built into it. And then usually within the lesson, there's reading that goes along with it, and sometimes some writing. So those lessons vary in time depending on what's being asked of him, but that's the next thing that we hit. The one thing you're going to notice on our schedule is we do that every day. I want him to be proficient with grammar and with writing, because he is interested in becoming a writer, and I want him to be good at it. And he's really into it, and he's fine with it. Like, he likes learning how to do it better, you know. So he's okay with it. He's okay with doing it 4 days a week. And I just feel like that's something he needs to do. There's so many lessons in each of those levels that I feel like we need to do it every day. So we do the Good and the Beautiful every day. The other thing, and I'm looking down at my plans laid out here so I don't forget anything. The next thing we do on Tuesday is history. We use the history mini units from Gather Round. Right now we're in the middle of U.S. History 4. And so doing it on Tuesday and on Thursday gives us time to sit and read the lesson, work on the student notebook pages. So if you don't know about their mini units, the content is the same in the teacher's guide. It's going to be about this. It's going to be the same length. The student notebooks are where you notice the difference. They only have 2 pages. Sometimes 3, but that's really rare. It's usually 2 pages. And so we're able to read the lesson, watch videos, and do whatever's required in the student notebook, and just spend some time in it. What you're going to notice, what you're going to notice is we do an A-B schedule. So our Tuesday, Thursdays are exactly the same, and our Wednesday, Fridays are the same. That's the schedule that I did for a couple of years in high school before they changed it. And I've looked forward to not having the same classes every single day. So we've tried that, and that's worked out very well for my son. That way, if he gets really bogged down in algebra, he knows he doesn't have it the next day. So that works for us. It just means that you spend a little more time on those days in those subjects, because you're not trying to cover every subject. You're just covering certain subjects each day. So you spend a little bit more time in them. I guess I probably should have explained that at the beginning. All right, so after history, we like to do health. The health is very simple. I wanted something short and sweet and to the point, and that's exactly what we use. We read the lesson, we discuss it, and we move on. We do it twice a week, and we will be finished with that by the end of the year. So that's good. The other thing you're going to see at the end of Tuesday is elective. And what we do there is a variety of things. So a lot of times I will go through at the beginning of the week and decide exactly what pages I want to pull from the life skills unit. So he's not always doing all 5 pages that come in the student notebook, because we're covering science and we're covering other subject areas anyway. So I just pull the ones that I really want him to do. And when it says elective on that day, it's always something different. It's usually 1 sheet from the life skills unit. So he might work on building a habit. That may be something that he does on Tuesday. And so I would that's what he would pull out for elective, and he would work on that. We might also, that same day, that might be the day that we pull out navigating friendships, our not consumed Bible study, and we go ahead and work on that. So I just kind of rotate things around, kind of like a loop, not really a loop, just whatever can fit in during that day. But it does always usually include one of the pages from the unit study that we started on Monday. Okay. Now our Wednesday looks a little bit different than our Tuesday. So instead of having math on Wednesday, we have IEW writing, because somebody's like, how do you even combine the two? So I like to use Wednesdays and Fridays to do IEW. Now we are using the theme-based writing units, and they do recommend that if you're going to do the theme-based that you go through their teacher training. Now I like to, when they do the 12 days of giveaways right after Christmas, so if you missed it this time, wait for it this coming Christmas. Right after Christmas, they do 12 days of giveaways, and you get like 3 months access to their premium membership. And so I just use that time to go through that training. Now, I'm not certified. I didn't like send my papers in or anything like that, but I went through it and I took notes so that I would be able to teach the theme-based writing. So that is recommended. You could probably figure it out on your own, but it was very, very helpful to go through their training. So what we do on Wednesdays and Fridays, the way that IEW is laid out, it's on a 4-day cycle. There's certain things you do each day. I just combine day 1 and day 2 we do on Wednesdays, because we have that time that we can really spend in writing, because we're not trying to get every subject done. I'm able to get those 2 days done on Wednesday. So he gets a day 1 and a day 2. And if he needs to take a break in between that, that's fine. But usually it works out okay. Like he's not bogged down in it. He's got the time to do it. Then we, of course, go right into the good and the beautiful. We do our language arts stuff. And then instead of doing history, we do science. And so he's working on chemistry this year. We're using Gather Round's high school student notebook. And I also pull in some master books with it. And so that should be completed. By the 1st of June, we should be done with chemistry. And so that time that we get to spend, we're able to do lessons. We're able to do experiments. We're able to write up, exactly what he did in the experiments, kind of like a lab report. And so we have plenty of time to do it because, like I said, we're not rushing to get other things done. And then also on Wednesday, you're going to see electives. So again, that's going to be another page out of here. So it might be, this one's about allergies. And so though this is kind of science-based, I thought it was a really good sheet. I just look at him and I'm like, if that's something I really think he needs to know, we're going to do it. So he'll do this. And then we may pull his learner's book and learn from it. Or we may review those Japanese phrases that he learned. And then he also likes to take the new phrases and put him in his Learn Any Foreign Language notebook from the Thinking Tree. So that's done at some point during the week, during that elective time. So I'm not going to just keep running through everything, because the Thursday looks exactly like Tuesday. Exactly like it. So Learn Math Fast, the way that we're doing it is we do the lesson and he works on the worksheet that comes in the book. That's what he's going to complete on Tuesday, right? Yeah, on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, I always have this supplemental sheet that you can get. You get access to their website where they have extra printables. And so I can go to whatever lesson he's doing that week and print him a supplemental sheet. And that's what he works on Thursday. Now, if there is something that he is just not quite getting, and we've had to do this a few times, or he just needs a little more practice on, or we have a chapter review test within that time frame, then I will make sure that he gets 3 days of math instead of 2. So normally it's just Tuesday, Thursday of Algebra 1. But if you'll notice on Fridays that I have pulled up, Friday we usually do financial literacy, which is just real world math, knowing how to earn money, like filling out a pay, like getting your check cashed, or how to fill out a check, whatever it is. We're using Evan Moore's financial literacy, just a very simple, no nonsense, real world math for that. And so we usually do that on Friday. But like I said, if he needs more work on whatever concept it is that we worked on in Algebra 1, that he's just not getting it, he could use an extra day of practice, or he has a test he needs to take, then we'll use that Friday for Algebra 1. So it's not set in stone that we do financial literacy, because if we need to use it for Algebra 1, we do. So Friday does have financial literacy on it. That's where we start with our math that day. It kind of gives him a break from algebra because that's not fun to do anyway. And I like the fact that it's real world stuff that he's going to use. So we usually start Friday with that. And then, of course, it's the same things. It's your Good and the Beautiful language arts, it's science, and it will be an elective. And so I just kind of look at what else do we need to hit elective-wise? Do we need to go over Japanese again? Are there some other pages I want him to finish from the unit that we started on Monday? That's kind of how I lay out the electives. And that is working for us. Like I said, it gives us time to sit in those subjects a little longer each day. And the A-B kind of schedule works really good for us. Now, if you have any questions about our schedule or any of the curriculum we're using, please leave them down in the comments below. I love chatting with you there. And as always, thank you so much for watching.